Your air conditioner has been roaring out back for 3 hours straight, and the thermostat still reads 77. Not the 72 you set it to. 77. It's the hottest day of the year, and you're about to grab your phone and call somebody out. Put it down for a second. That service call is almost always for a problem you started yourself, right there at that little box on the wall. 5 habits at that thermostat run your bill up and wear the system out years early. And 2 of them are probably happening in your house right now. I spent 25 years doing this on the truck and in the office for the same companies that mail you the bill. So I know exactly which of these 5 keeps the phone ringing, and every one of them is free to fix today. We'll start with the one you can handle in about 4 seconds. The first one, walk over and look at the fan setting on your thermostat. It says one of 2 things, auto or on. If yours is set to on, you're paying for a mistake most people never notice they're making. Here's the difference. On auto, the fan only spins when the system is actually cooling. It kicks on with the compressor, and when the house hits temperature, it shuts off right along with it. Set it to on, and that fan never stops. Cooling or not, it runs all day and all night. Most folks put it there figuring they're getting better airflow, more even temperatures around the house. Sounds fair. But 2 things happen, and neither one helps you. First, that blower is a motor spinning inside your air handler. On an older system, it pulls somewhere between 400 and 800 watts every hour it turns. Run it around the clock and you've quietly tacked $30 to $50 a month onto your power bill, sometimes more, just to push air that didn't need pushing. The second one is worse, and it's the part nobody mentions. When your AC runs, it pulls moisture out of the air. That water collects on the cold coil inside, drips down the drain, and leaves your house. Drying the air is half of what an air conditioner even does. On auto, the fan stops when the cooling stops, so that water has time to drain away. Leave the fan running though, and it keeps blowing over that wet coil after the compressor shuts off. It picks the moisture right back up and blows it into your rooms. So the house feels damp, sticky, and a sticky 74 feels warmer than a dry 74. What do? You walk over and turn the thermostat down, and now you're running the whole system harder to fix a humidity problem you created with a fan switch. Your own HVAC guy might even tell you to leave it on for better air quality. Out in a dry desert, maybe. Anywhere it gets humid, he's leaving out the moisture that fan blows back in. And this is where it turns into a real bill. Damp air pushed through your air ducts day and night is the exact thing mold likes. So a few months later, the air feels off, maybe smells a little off, and you call somebody. They walk the house and tell you what you need is a duct cleaning, or an ultraviolet light in the system, or a whole home air purifier. $1,200, $1,800 for a problem a fan switch started. Set it to auto. If you really want the air stirred for filtering, a smart thermostat has a circulate mode that runs the fan a few minutes an hour instead of all of them. But for almost everybody, auto is the answer. That first one's a switch you flip. This next one's a belief, and it might be the most common one there is. Number 2. You come home, the house is hot, so you set the thermostat way down. Instead of 74, you punch in 65, figuring the lower you set it, the faster it'll cool. I get why that feels true. It's completely false. Your air conditioner has one speed. It's either running at 100% or it's off. There is no faster. Setting it to 65 doesn't make it blow colder air, and it doesn't move more of it. All it does is make the system run longer, right past the temperature you actually wanted, down to a number you're going to be uncomfortable at anyway. So it overshoots. The house gets too cold. You get up and shut it off, and you've swung the whole house temperature around for nothing. Every degree you set below 78 in the summer adds roughly 3% to what that system costs to run. Punch it down 10 degrees for the afternoon, and you're just burning money, with no faster cooling to show for it. Set it to the temperature you actually want to live at, and walk away. It reaches that temperature exactly as fast either way. Number 3 costs you while you're not even home. A lot of folks pick one temperature and leave it there. 72 in the summer, and it never moves. Feels efficient. It isn't. When you set one number and never touch it, your system is cooling an empty living room all day while you're at work, and cooling you down to daytime temperatures all night while you're asleep under a blanket and don't need it. Here's what I've watched that do to a power bill. Let the house come up 7 or 8 degrees while you're gone and nobody's there to feel it, and you'll knock about 10% off your cooling for the whole year. That's not a gadget you go buy. That's just not paying to cool an empty house. And I can't tell you how many homes I walked into with a programmable thermostat sitting right there on the wall, still set the way it came out of the box. They bought the tool and never used it, and paid full price all summer for it. One warning though, because people take this too far. Setting back is not the same as shutting off. Don't kill the system completely when you leave in July, especially somewhere humid. The house doesn't just get hot, it gets damp. And when you come home and flip it back on, it has to pull all that moisture out of the air before it can even start cooling you down. That runs it hard for hours, at the most expensive time of the day. Bump it up 7 or 8 degrees when you're out. Don't kill it. A plain programmable thermostat, $30 or $40, does the whole thing for you on a schedule. By the way, if this is already showing you money you've been handing over, this is the stuff this channel does every week, worth sticking around for. Number 4 is the opposite problem. And if more than one person lives in your house, you already know this one, the thermostat wars. Somebody's warm, they bump it down 2 degrees. An hour later, somebody's cold, they bump it up 3, all day long. Up and down, up and down. Here's what that does to the machine. Every single time that system starts up, that first moment is the hardest thing it does all day. The compressor, the big expensive part sitting out back in your condenser unit, draws a huge surge of power just to get itself spinning, several times what it pulls once it's running. When you let it run a nice long cycle, that hard start is a small piece of the job. But when you're poking the thermostat every 20 minutes, you're making it start, stop all day. That's called short cycling, and it's rough on everything. I've pulled compressors that died years before they had any business dying, and it was almost always the same story. A system that spent its whole life starting and stopping. That constant starting is what cooks it. A unit that should give you 15, 20 years gets cut down to 8 or 10. And a compressor is not a small repair. You're looking at $2,500 and up on a big system. It's the exact number that talks people into just replacing the whole unit instead. Now, I'll be straight with you because I'm not here to scare you over nothing. Most thermostats built in the last decade or so have a protection delay in them. A little timer that won't let the compressor restart for a few minutes, and that saves you from the very worst of it. So one bump on a hot afternoon is not going to blow up your compressor tomorrow. This is slow damage and wasted power, not an emergency. But the fix is dead simple. Treat the thermostat like cruise control, not a gas pedal. You set the speed and you leave it. Pick a temperature the whole household can live with and stop driving it. And that brings me to number 5. This is the big one. It's the habit that had you reaching for your phone at the very start. It's the one that gets people to pay for a service call they never needed, and I want you to have it before it ever happens to you. Nobody explains this when they sell you the system. Your air conditioner is not built to hit a number on the dial. It's built to pull your house down a certain amount below whatever it is outside, roughly 20 degrees. Now, I'm not telling you to sit there and sweat all summer. A system that's sized right for your home holds 72 to 75 just fine on a normal 90-degree day. That's an easy pull for it. What I'm talking about is the worst days of the year, 100, 105 outside on the thermometer. On those days, 20 degrees below lands you right around 80. And if you've got it set to 68, that system is going to run non-stop and never get there. Not because it's broken, because you're asking it to do something no air conditioner can do on the hottest afternoon of the year. And this is where it costs you real money. The house won't hit your number, so you figure the AC is dying, and you call. The service call runs you $75, maybe $150 just to pull in the driveway. And on a 100-degree afternoon, that technician is going to find a system running hard and running warm, because that's exactly what every unit on the block is doing that day. And now you'll buy whatever he's selling. It's low on refrigerant, it's undersized. You really ought to think about a new one. When the honest answer was, it's 100 degrees out, your air conditioner is fine, wait for the evening and it'll catch up. So think back to that afternoon at the start. The condenser unit roaring out back, 77 on the dial. That was not a broken air conditioner. That was a hot day and a phone call that would have cost you a whole lot of money for nothing. So let's put all 5 together, because every one of these you can handle yourself today for free. Walk over and set that fan to auto. Set the thermostat to the temperature you actually want to live at, not colder to rush it. Bump it up 7 or 8 degrees when you're out or asleep, but don't shut it all the way off. Quit poking it every 20 minutes. And on the hottest days of the year, expect about 20 degrees below whatever it is outside and let it be. Now, when should you actually call a real pro? When the house can't hold a comfortable temperature even in normal weather, not just in a heat wave. When the air out of the vents is warm instead of cool. When you see ice on the refrigerant lines or the unit won't start at all. Those are real problems, and they're worth a look. And when a technician does come out and tells you the system can't keep up, ask him one thing. Ask him what the temperature drop is across the coil, the difference between the air going in and the air coming out. A healthy system pulls that air down somewhere around 15 to 20 degrees. If he can show you that number is fine, then your system is fine and your problem is the weather, not the machine. Don't let anybody sell you a brand new unit on the hottest afternoon of the year without that number in your hand. Tell me down in the comments what you keep your thermostat set at in the summer. I read them, keep your cool, and I'll see you in the next one.